I'm Dan Laskowski, and this is Fastfingers, MIDI software to get into the SID chip to actually play sounds with the SID chip with a full-size keyboard. Or if I get this working the way it should. This thing fell down earlier today, so I dropped it. I made a stupid mistake. So hopefully this will send out to this and you'll be able to hear it. Yeah. Channel 3. Oh, I know why this isn't working. Okay. It's got to be on channel 3. Okay, so anyways, before I go into my whole spiel about this stuff, I want to introduce myself to you guys, because you guys, some of you have known me for years, but you really haven't heard my story, and I don't want to go on too long, maybe 5 minutes tops. But when I was 18 years old, I had a bad nervous breakdown, and now I'm almost 70 years old, so that's almost 50 years ago, right? But I got it was really, really bad. They thought I was going to end up permanently in St. Thomas, and because because when they were giving me the treatments, I wasn't responding to any of the treatments. And what I wanted to tell you was that my mother prayed for me, and she had a bunch of nuns praying for me. And after they had given me 5 shock treatments, which is not good for the brain, but they gave them to me, and I went home after, I was home within a month. So, so then what happened was, so I lost a lot of memory from the shock treatments. And I mean, I thank God for being here. And in a way, it's an interesting thing, because like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm some wizard or something. I put wizard for my name on my wizard@musicinit.com, but I'm not a wizard by any means. A lot of the stuff that happens in here, some of it I don't even understand. Like what I'm going to show you now, the problem I just had, why it wasn't playing. It's totally beyond me. I can't explain it to you. This interface here, the interface is made for channel 3 on here, will also play any other MIDI device on any channel. But for some reason, you have to be tuned to the same channel as the card that I'm picking up on. So that card is set for channel 3 there, and this one is set for channel 3. So now it will play on there when I play it on here. So this one over on this side is Fastfingers 3, and that's Fastfingers 2. So the other thing I wanted to mention was, as a result of those shock treatments, I forget things. I have to be constantly working on this. If I set this aside for 6 months, I almost have to start over. I have to relearn what my code is doing. And it was really bad the first time, because after 27 years, I had very few comments in. I've learned since then to put a lot more comments in. And and I had some other experiences, but I just want to mention there's a few other good people in my life that helped. So after I got out of the, out of being sick, I was up in, I got home and I saw my dad's electronic, radio electronics magazine. And the radio electronics magazine had a picture of a synthesizer you could build for $300. Now back in 1974, 75, it was actually 75 when I started to put this together. Back in 75, a Moog was like a $2,000 item. So me being able to build this for $300 was a real deal. And so I got into that. My soldering was terrible. Things never worked properly. I had another good friend at a local, I got in a TRS-80 group because I had a TRS-80 shortly after. My friend helped me get that thing working. By 1980, I had a digital version of that with a 6502 based computer in it from PAIA Electronics. And those people at PIIA, they're great people, great people. They were very patient with me, to put up with me. And finally, like I said, I went there in 1980. I brought my whole great big thing. I had all these boxes and everything. They got it working. I brought it home, and by 82, I had written polyquencers for the TRS-80, interfacing the TRS-80 to the PIA synthesizer, digital synthesizer. And then I advertised it. I spent all kinds of money. It didn't do anything because it was too many variables. You had to have a TRS-80 Model 1. You had to have a PIA synthesizer, whoever got one together that actually worked. And the cable was an ugly looking thing with wires, and it never sold. But it was a learning experience. And then my friend came up to me from the TRS-80 group, and he said, Dan, he said, you know, you paid like over $2,000 for your parts for that TRS-80 Model 1. He said, you know that, and that's only 60, no, I think it was 48K. He said, do you know that you can get a Commodore 64 right now for $899? And it's 64K. And he says, listen to this sound chip. And then that was it, everything. So this has been therapy for me, and I enjoy it, but it is work. Some days I'd rather, you know, do something else, but I like, when I start playing with the sounds and that, I get right into it, and that's about it. So I just have to tell you, I really, there's mysterious things that happen, and this is one of them. Because this one I can't figure out. I looked at the Boolean logic and everything. For some reason, this interface, if a person wanted to buy Fastfingers 1 and Fastfingers 2, they'd have to have either they'd have to get one of the Omni ones for Fastfingers 2 to play it, or they have to get the exact same channel. But this will still play every other device on any channel. So I don't understand it all. So there are things beyond my understanding going on inside of this program, even though I wrote this thing. So I just want to let you guys know that it's not me all the time, not me for sure. Okay. Now, and luckily now everything is on, I don't have anything to do with floppy disks. No, there's no serious musician I know that wants to carry a 1541 around. I mean, now I know you can use those SD cards, but I like working with the cartridge. You plug it in, and everything, it's up and it's like, it's turnkey, it's on, it's there. So, now let's see if this will work this time. Get it back on. Here it is. I'm going to turn it down. Okay, so right now, they're both SIDs are playing right now. The SID on this Commodore 64 and the SID that's also on the SX64. Now the difference is and this is another thing I didn't intentionally do. When I set this up for locked up on me. Okay, so that's the Commodore SID chip sounds, right? And the thing that I want to show you is the power of, okay, I'm going to get this turned up. Now, when I select different, I'm going to turn the Commodore voices down, and I'm going to turn up the voice. Oh, wrong way. Okay. This is still pretty loud on its own. Now the MIDI module. I'm going to pick a sound on here that's real sensitive to velocity. I'm going to turn this down a bit. Okay, so right now it's playing every note pretty well the same. If I could get this screen up there, you'd see that they're all the velocity is 47 for all of the 16 notes. But when you start playing with the velocities, that's exactly the same pitch as playing, except I will bring it down a lower octave. It might be more pleasing. So there are 32 velocity sequences, and also I can flip them all upside down, so that now if I hit the flip switch for this particular, it does that. Okay, so I'm getting bored with that. So what I want to show you, don't need that. Is that okay? Good. So what I have is I have 32 pages, like 16 sequences in each page of chords, like so chord progressions or chord. It's all playing in the same chord. I'm a drummer, okay, so, but I know that this works because I've played with these before. So it's playing in a chord. So if you're in this chord, like I put them on here so you can see. The numbers are 0 is the root key, so whatever key you're holding down is 0, and then it'll be +3, +6, +12, +15, +18 to play that particular chord. So it'll do a progression. So it'll be 16. If it's a real popular one, some of them I have 2 pages of because they're real my wife likes the diminished seventh type of. That's at page 6 EO. Now everything is in hex because, and I can't. If I could show you the screen here, you'd see that I have the numbers up. Right now, it's playing. It's playing the root bank. But if I wanted to get this, page 60, I have to hit the bank key, and then I have to hit the up-down cursor key, and that's 6E. Oh yes, and I also, before I do that, I have to hit E is the top row selects the page 0, 1, 2, 3 up to page F, which is 15. So EO is 14. This is the second last key, and then I hit that, and then I hit return. Once I hit return, that now when I play the top row of the Commodore keyboard, it will switch between all of them on that page, so that theoretically I can switch from one to the other without. And you can do other real creative things. You can edit these. You can edit these patches. I got to figure out that. You can edit these patches or these sequences really easy. Like if I want to make that 15 instead of playing 16, make it 15 so you have a weird 15 against 16 type of feel. I go to the thing. I wish I could show you what's happening here. And there's the left arrow that points to the left at the very top row. If I hit that twice anywhere in the sequence, that's an end marker that says that's the end of the loop. So I'm gonna put one here on the 16th item to make it a 15 event sequence, and then I'm going to move up to. I got to select. Yeah. Let's see. And I can change octaves the way I change octaves with the SID chip. And so you can put together music with this. Okay, so I want to try to put a different MIDI module on. Hopefully it works. That's good. Knock my coffee onto my. On the Fastfingers 2 interface, the original one just had a single hole on it. Like this was the original Fastfingers 2 interface. Very kludgy looking. That I finished, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. This new one has MIDI through on it, which makes things nice in a MIDI situation. Just to give you a different idea of sounds. Down a bit, and This isn't playing right now. Oh, because I turned it right down. What sound do I have on here? See, this SX64, there's a story behind this too, eh? Now I have this keyboard for the SX. Thanks to Mr. Brain, otherwise I wouldn't be able to use this thing right now because the keyboard doesn't work anymore. This actually, I might as well tell you the story real quick. So, I had this SX64, I bought it brand new in Montreal for $1,200 way back when they were out. And I had it for a few years, and I got deep into MIDI music and using the Amiga to do music and MIDI, and I wasn't touching any of this stuff. I didn't touch this stuff for 27 years after I did Fastfingers 1 in and had Fastfingers 1 in 85, 86. So what happened was I had it a couple of years, and I sold it to my friend. He gave me $400 for it. Well, he's a heavy smoker, and just a few years before he died, he decided he wanted to dump a bunch of his Commodore stuff on me. So he gave me back this, and he gave me a 128, and a whole bunch of stuff, right? But I couldn't get the keyboard working right. So I have another friend who's a tech friend, the same guy that got me into the 64 in the first place. I said, I got a deal for you. I'm going to give you this because you've helped me all these years. And I just have it and fix it up, and you know, and he couldn't figure out how to fix the keyboard. So finally, I got a hold of Jim Brain, and I got the PS2 to the PS2 replacement board. So my friend set it all up, and he said to me, Dan, he says, I can't see that screen; it's too small. Okay, Pat, I have something. I'll give you a couple Fastfingers cartridges, Commodore 64, and anything else you want. I've got tons of stuff for that to get that back. So he agreed, and I got it back. But he fixed it for me. I was too lazy to put that board together. I told him, I said, it's your computer, you have it, it's yours. But he gave it back to me. So we swapped it back. But anyways, okay. So this is a Yamaha sound module. Actually, when you use the velocity, they really sound so much different. So I get, can you imagine just hearing like a techno guy with a playing along with, and jumping through all of these different So the original Fastfingers, if you guys, for the people that don't know, the original Fastfingers allowed you to do a whole bunch of different things with the SID chip. And I know I've been concentrating mostly, I don't know how much time I have left here, another 15 minutes. So you can build your own sounds on here. I wish I could show you the sequencer, how the sequencer's set up. If I could get that thing going, I could put up a video of me on YouTube showing how the sequencer works. but I won't bother. It's there's 16. There's a blue screen for pitch sequences. There's a brown screen for velocity sequences, and then I also have a thing called DADSR, which is a new thing that I added later on. On here there is there's also on Fastfingers 2. There's also a thing called transpose. So there's a transpose sequence. So you could make it totally automated. Yes.
Sorry, you say you added a DADSR. Did you do that in software?
In software, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What I call it is dynamic ADSR, which is well. Let me see. I'll turn off the MIDI modules. I'll turn the MIDI down. It says it's on right now. Oh, I see what's going on here. You don't want to hear this one because I'm not doing it on there right now. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can put... Without a Commodore keyboard, I don't know how to reset to turn off the MIDI. Once the MIDI is on, I don't have the same control over here. I'm not sure which is the control key on here. It's really weird. The alternate key works as well. It's a weird setup. This keyboard, I'd much rather have a. Okay, I'll put a ADSR on here. That's the return key. It's not going on. I can't even find the key to turn it on this. Or I can't, or it may be on, but I can't see it turning green because the screen is so small. I'll just run it on here. I'm going to take a look at the sequence. That one goes up and down, slow. Well, this is not a good sequence. That's why it's not working right. I thought I had these reprogrammed. This is the SID chip you're hearing now. It all depends on the sound. But you can also make your own sounds on here as well as with all the other versions of Fastfingers I have out. You have, there's that sounding right. It's in the wrong place. Okay. So that's the basics of it. Now you have to really, it's really deep. I mean, okay, just to give you an idea, I worked on this for 2.5 years, the very first version. 3 hours a day while I was still, no, 2 hours a day. My wife kept me, because my kids were just weak. And she said, you have to, you got to spend time with the family. So I had a day job and I was doing this for 2 hours a day for 2.5 years. Plus, then when I got back into this in 2010, 2011, over the last 10 years, I probably put another 5,000 hours into this. There's probably 10,000 hours into this program. So there's so many different things you can do with it. I can't show you everything in 45 minutes. There's just no way. And I have the instruction manual. And originally, when I met, I have to thank Peter Smith too. Anybody here know Peter Smith from Richvale Telecommunications? He had his company, and when I met him at the World of Commodore, I had my original MIDI interface, my original interface that went into the Mattel and television keyboard. It was a bunch of wires in a box with plugs, and it plugged into the joystick ports for the Mattel and television keyboard. And he came up and he said, "That can be on a circuit board." And then I kind of shook hands and we got together, and he was going to market it for me. He said that he knew that he was going to get rid of at least 250 or 300 units. But what happened was he ran out of money, and his programmers are the guys that didn't understand my drawings. I designed the circuit board, the printed circuit board. I had it designed, and they got it. They flipped it somehow. They misinterpreted what I drew. I used transparent paper and black tape type stuff and I made it look really good. And they didn't understand it, so I ended up having to. And he got into trouble and he ran out of money. And so what happened was I ended up going to Detroit, and I had them make me 50 of those boards up for the Mattel and television keyboard, and it worked. And then at the World of Commodore, and it was 84, 85, I'm not sure. I sold about 10 keyboards and 10 packages there at the World of Commodore in 84, 85. And at the what was it, the airport center they call that, or the international center? That's where I was at there back then. And so anyways, there's some history with this, and like I said, I have to thank a lot of good people, a lot of people that had patience with me, and I have to thank the good Lord, obviously, because like this whole thing, I'm a walking miracle here, and this keeps me going. It's just, but I want to do music with it. Every time I come to do music, the trouble is, the more you learn, the more you can do, the more you want to do. Yeah. Oh, I want to put a SID chip on. I want to put a swing SID on here now, and it doesn't work. So I have to figure out. So now I got to rewrite. I have to write my own ADSRs because the ENV signals don't work properly on the swing SID, unless I just say, okay, I'll just swallow my losses on the swing SID. I spent $50 on 2 of them. I just put them away and forget about them and move on with my music. Or else I could say, well, I spent $50 on those 2 swing SIDs. I really would like to get them working with this system. So now I have to, instead of using ENV3, I have to now write. On this cartridge, I still have lots of memory left. I could put my own ADSRs, and they'll be a lot nicer looking, not just straight lines. They'll be nicer looking ADSRs. I figure 256 bytes for each ADSR would be beautiful. Like something that's a second long would take up 256, and something that was less time would take up less time. So that's whether I do that or not, I don't know. After this is done, I go home. Probably before Christmas, I'll start playing with that. I'll see if there's any I'll see if those swing SIDs work. They might not work at all. I bought them from a guy in Germany, and it might not be the chips at all. The software might be the chips. I don't know. So I'll have to try them out with other software and see how they work. So before I know, I have to get out of here. So if there are any questions? Yes.
I think you sort of answered this already, but what was your motivation for doing this? I mean,
Well, if I wanted to show you my video from 1984, when CBC interviewed me. That was what I wanted to put up on the screen. And the bottom line is to give you facility if you don't have facility. Also, this is designed so that a blind person, in theory, now it's gotten so many different, over time it's gotten so many extra layers of stuff. You'd have to have an incredible memory to memorize where all the buttons, but everything is button combinations. The whole program runs with button combinations. So if you had an incredible memory, it's possible you could run this program. And I did a couple demos. My channel on YouTube is Tech Christian, TECHRISTIAN. That's my channel on YouTube, and I have I've done all the things on. It shows you how the sequencer works. I did I did one whole demo with no monitor at all. Just ran through all 256 sounds that were in the SID chip, and the other demo I did was making your own sounds. So I highlighted three things: the sequencer, making your own sounds, and using this just as a MIDI module to get, SID sounds. So that's it.
Do you have your CBC interview on the channel?
What's that?
Your CBC interview that you were just talking about?
Yes, I have
Is
it.
that on your channel?
Yes, it's on there.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I was much younger then.
We all-
Much younger. Yes, sir.
Will you find other content under Fastfingers on YouTube?
Fastfingers
Yeah.
might be another keyword that'll help.
Okay.
Fastfingers are, TE Christian, or tech. I kind of merged the two words together because technological or tech insanity or whatever. Yes. Is there any other? I know I got to get out of here. Thanks.